January 8th, 2011, a date that has gone down in history as one not only of pain and loss, but hope and healing, a balance that'll be so beautifully represented at the new memorial that's now under construction. Here to share an update on the progress are Executive Director of the January 8th Memorial Foundation, Crystal Kasnoff, and Board President and former Congressman Ron Barber. Thank you both so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us, Alex.
Pleasure to have you here. Such exciting news that it's now under construction, but let's remind people who maybe haven't thought about it for a minute, what is the meaning of this for the community?
Well, there are a lot of reasons why we're building this memorial. First and foremost, of course, we want to celebrate the lives of those who were killed that day and celebrate those who survived. Thank the first responders who came to our aid and the ordinary citizens, some of whom ran out of the Safeway to help us, not even knowing if there was another shooter. So we were just overwhelmed by the compassion, goodwill of the community. We want to make sure people remember that. But we also want to make this point. What was happening that day was a member of Congress putting herself in full access to the people she represented, one-on-one conversation as opposed to a massive meeting. And we want to point out to future generations and current ones, obviously, that that is a process that's essential to our democracy, that the elected officials are accountable and accessible to the people that they represent.
Right. Not only is it, like you were saying, going to go and sort of remember those who were lost, but of course the survivors, the families of the survivors, like you were saying, strangers who came and helped because of the situation and what it called for, and future generations, of course, too. It's preserving the history and preserving that idea here in our community. Crystal, let's talk about the status of legislation to make this not only just a memorial for here, but national memorial.
That's correct. So we have two bills, Alex, one in the House in the U.S. House and one in the U.S. Senate that would designate the memorial as a national memorial, as an affiliated area of the national park system. And a lot of people ask what that means. It doesn't mean the federal government's giving us money. I think we're very proud to say that this memorial has been funded by the community privately. But it would give us a status that will drive people to visit, create conversation, and also be very good for the economy, actually. I mean, that's not the reason we're building the memorial, obviously. But Tucson's community came together in a way that many tragedies in their communities don't come together. Sometimes it can cause divisiveness. That didn't happen here. It was all about love. It didn't matter what your political affiliation was. It didn't matter what the differences were. And we really want to shine a light on that.
Right. We were talking about politics, but in terms of democracy, not of partisanship.
Absolutely not. This is an absolutely nonpartisan memorial. And anyone who tries to put politics into it, we push back really hard because that's not what it's about at all. If you wanted to talk about politics, Gabby was a Democrat and John Roll was a Republican, So it has nothing to do with politics. It has everything to do with memorializing a very important event in our community and also reminding people of how resilient this community is in the wake of a tragedy like this.
Resiliency is definitely the word that comes to mind, and what's exciting too is how close we are to actually meeting the fundraising goal.
Yes.
So let's talk specifically, what are we looking for, what do we need, how can people help?
So we are so close to the end. We had a press conference a couple of months ago where we had some donors that came forward and gave us $1 million match, and we are almost to the end of that. So we're at the last push for the construction of the memorial. So we're asking people, again, the community came together. Let's come together one more time, finish the construction phase, and then we have an operation maintenance account. We want this memorial to be around for our kids and our grandkids and their grandkids, Alex, to remember what it's like as a community to come together. So we're asking folks to get together. I think you can see on our screen, you can learn more information. There are donor recognition opportunities, and you can just make a general donation. It will really help at tucsonsmemorial.org, and there's a number on the screen that you can call for more information as well.
It really is going to be so gorgeous, and of course, let's talk about the dedication that's coming up too.
Well, on January 8th, just a few weeks from now, we'll have a dedication at the location of the memorial. The memorial is not yet under construction. It will be in due course. But normally at UMC, there was a bell ringing every year. We're bringing that over to the memorial. We'll ring the bell 19 times for the people who were wounded and, of course, the 6 of those who died. And then we will have some speakers who will talk about the purpose of the memorial. And we invite the public. It's open and free to the public. Anyone who wants to be part of that ceremony, that dedication, we're welcoming them to the location downtown in front of the old courthouse.
Again, everyone can gather, come together, really celebrate what it means to have this memorial and what it's going to mean for future generations too. It really is so exciting that you guys pulled this off. It's really gonna happen, and I want to thank you so much for everything you've done and for joining us.
Well, one
today.
other point, and I think Crystal alluded to, I just want to emphasize it. This memorial is going to be built because people in Tucson and Arizona and some people out of state, but mostly people right here in our community said, we want this. We want to show who we are through this memorial, what we did, how resilient we are, and we were determined that the event of January 8th, the shooting, will not define Tucson. What happens afterwards in this memorial will define who we are.
Tucsonans never fail. That's what
right.
I'm getting from
Absolutely
this. So
right.
thank you
You got
guys
it.
so much again.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you. Tucson's January 8th memorial dedication and bell ringing is taking place at El Presidio Park on Monday, January 8th at 9:30 a.m. To learn more, visit tucsonsmemorial.org or call 520-393-8317.